Okay, hey guys. So I am back out in Lily, and I think I have figured it out. I finally found one board online that had a description of building the Overcab area where the plywood was actually glued to the he called it phylon, which is this area. And apparently that plywood had styrofoam, some kind of insulation attached to the bottom of it, and in between here and the plywood was some kind of insulation. And then on top of that, apparently, is where you would build your frame or something to that effect. But basically, if I take this out, there we can see that gap. Okay, so this over here is where the plywood wasn't completely rotted and it was kind of still attached, and we were like moving it to try to get it out because that side just kind of pulled out, just like pieces and wet, and so we just kind of thought it was just laying in there. But apparently it was screwed in, and you can see the screws like up in there that were actually screwed into, and I'll come over to this side because I took this part off. This beam support. So what I need to do, this is what the guy did. So this phylon is attached under here to the top of the cab. There's, I don't know if you can see right here where my finger is, you can see the two layers. Like this is inside, this is outside, and these screws look to me like they go through both of them. The screw that's sticking up right here goes through this and the cab. So what I think is that we need to take all those screws out, and somehow, because they're all like rusted and gross, and somehow cut a piece of plywood, and we need to take this piece out. This piece needs to come out. You need to scrub it up, scrape it, scrub it, get it nice and clean, because then I need to attach the new styrofoam insulation or whatever onto that, and then plywood, or attach the styrofoam to the plywood and then attach them both to this piece, because this needs to be stabilized and is definitely not stable right now. Kind of worried that it's gonna get more loose, and we are definitely not driving this thing while it's in this condition. So also he said that the board, the bed, sat on top of a, and he had a picture of it, of cutout of a board that was right inside of here, and I can't really see in there, but to take this side off, and I'll take a closer look. If I can get this pulled back. Okay, so I don't see what he had in here anywhere. Okay, but you can see what is the, I don't know if you can see this, where my finger is here. I'm going to go this way. Alright, so where's my finger? Here. Okay, so this part under here I believe is the outside of the cab. And then the part here, okay, so you get a better view. Okay, so this is the phylon right here, okay? And there's a little bead of something there, and then this part that the screw goes through first here is the outside of the cab. And apparently, so this is actually considered part of the bed, this phylon. And his was sitting on like an etched out piece of wood right here. Like it kind of cut down and around. And this sat down into it. But mine, as you can see, does not do that. It looks like this piece of wood is the framing for the cab, like the door area. And this just sits flush with this piece. I don't know if you can see this. Okay, so this is the edge. This is that plywood edge. Goes down here. It makes up this wall here. So what I'm thinking is I need to put another piece here, which I know I took a piece out, but it was not that piece. It was like in further. It was like in here further. So I'm going to have to make something here to like butt up against this. But basically what I need to do is get this phylon out of here. And hopefully I can do that without tearing the whole front end apart. And I'm not so sure I can, because ours does not, it doesn't separate. Like there's not a separate piece. This is not separate from the piece that goes up and around. I think it's all one piece. I'm going to go outside and look right now. So what I think I might have to do I'm so hoping I don't have to take this whole thing apart. The only thing I can think of is to do the plywood and the styrofoam piece together, cut it somehow, measure, do a template or something to fit here, and somehow get this to be like pulled up where it's dipping down, like here. It's like somehow get it up against the plywood with contact cement. That's what he said, to use contact cement. I don't know. I'm hoping I can find something that just adheres really quickly, because otherwise I'm going to end up having to take this whole thing apart. So yeah. I also want to look on the outside over there to see how that screws up into that piece of aluminum or steel. I'm guessing it's aluminum. So I want to look to see if there's a seam out there in the front. Going across. I'm 99% sure there is not. Pretty sure I looked at this before. Oh, I could be wrong. I'm wrong. Okay, so it's this part right here. Goes across. Right there. It goes all the way up to there, I think. I know for a fact that the plywood was not that big. But if I can just take that piece out, it would help an awful lot. And apparently they were saying that it was attached to their cab, which it does not look like it's attached to the cab. I could be wrong. Yeah, I guess it is attached to the cab. There's just like a drop down then. And here is the seam that came apart. Right there, right here. And I wanted to be able to look up in there. I guess this is where I saw a lot of these. Like, this has to be unscrewed. And I think it screws up into there. And that's where the it goes up into that aluminum part. So it goes through the molding, and screw goes through the molding, and then into the plywood, and then into the aluminum frame, I'm guessing. Okay, so there's still a lot of work. Okay, so I'm going to take pictures of this so I can show my husband. He is not wanting to even look at it right now. I think I've been talking too much about it. And he gets overwhelmed. And I'm like, I get obsessed and I just want to do it. I just want to figure it out and I want to do it. I want to take care of it, get it taken care of. And, so I can move on to something else. But obviously, I can't do that until I figure out how to do it right. So I research for hours and hours and hours and hours. And finally, I found something that looks right. He was saying that it's the guy online was saying that it's like a hollow core door. So, like that plywood screws into that beam. I'm going to call it a beam, a support or whatever. And then there's like a frame. You put styrofoam on top of it. Like it frames it out. You frame it out from there, and then you put the styrofoam inside the frame, and then plywood on top of that that has like the sliding laminate stuff on top. So I kind of at least have an idea of what I need to do, which is good. Now, if the weather would be nice, I would actually get something accomplished. So, all right. Thanks for watching. And I think my first step is just to get this stuff cleaned up. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.